Who are you to sit there and tell me that I'm guilty? I was never convicted of rape. I was convicted of oral copulation with a minor.
So let me get this straight. You think you are innocent because you took a plea deal and didn't plead guilty. The truth of the matter is, mate, you and your friends sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl. And so the reality of this situation also is the moment you hit that yard and you get paperwork checked, you are getting shank sandwiched straight in the neck.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Rightio legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so obviously today we are doing a video on Ben Azoulay, aka Kingazoulay. So he's another one of these absolute fake alpha male who sells these programs to kids on how to be an alpha male, when the absolute truth is you and all your friends actually, you know, sexually assaulted a 15-year-old child and were sentenced like as an adult and as you were 18 years old. And it's just absolutely putrid. And everything that he's telling these people and all these fake courses that he's doing is now getting proven. So, you know, he's saying that he was a FBI special agent and you know, he was special ops in the army. And so real actual people that were special ops and green berets and that are bringing him undone and calling stolen valor on him. But not only that, you know, he's got crazy stories that he's like some crazy kung fu
Do you know that
master.
the Shaolin monks don't ever in their life?
How did you even get connected with them?
When we came to the US, I started eating at a Chinese restaurant. The owner was, for me, Master Shifu. When I used to go there, eventually the owner fell in love with me. And he said, that kid is special. And I would come to him, and before I would eat, he would move all of the tables and he would teach me Kung Fu. And I was 10 years old. So I learned how to move with like Kung Fu, you know?
Yeah.
Got him! Got him!
It was different and I loved it. And that inspired me because I said, I'm gonna be like Bruce Lee. And I would come there every day and I would train after school. Then after I would have my beef and broccoli. And from there, when I got older, I said, I really wanna go and train with the Shaolin monks. First of all, they don't accept you. Today they do, by the way. You get paid to go there.
How did you get in?
You have to wait outside of the temple. When they let you in, they teach you things that are unbelievable.
And for that reason, I've created a Telegram channel, the F Student Council, where I share secret knowledge.
Bullshit. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, so this guy obviously, you know, is talking a lot of shit. But the truth is, another big YouTuber, Johnny Bravo, found out some stuff about this guy, and kind of this guy had a big, you know, rage attack and shut down his Instagram and all that stuff. So what Johnny Bravo had found out is that, so when he was 18 years old, him and three of his mates invited a 15-year-old girl over. They got her drunk, and then they all had their way with her, let's just say. And so each one of them was charged as an adult for interfering with a minor. And so let's just listen to what this guy says, and tell me what you think, because he doesn't think that he is a sour grapist. Now, let me tell you, it doesn't matter what way you look at this guy is 100% a sour grapist.
I spent the last 6 weeks of my life digging into a case that happened to me almost 20 years ago. You see, there is an asshole guy out there who decided he was going to destroy my name. But I gotta tell you, I'm absolutely blessed that he did what he did. I would have never found out the things that I just found out. You see, the first video that I made for you was just me going off of what I remembered. The information that John Bravo got was from the case that was a civil case. A case that I never even knew existed.
So I guess what he's trying to say there is that this so-called rape case turned into a civil case, which there is talk about that he tried to take these people to court after they took him to court. Couldn't find any real information on that. But the truth is, like, come on, you're trying to tell us that you had a court case going. Doesn't matter if it's civil or criminal. You definitely know exactly when your court case is, and you definitely know that this is going on. I'm calling BS.
But today, I know everything about that case. I went to the courts, I grabbed my lawyers, I grabbed my advisors to go through everything that happened to me almost 20 years ago. The thing that they said that I did, I didn't do. If the police were involved, and the judges and the DAs and the investigators, they found me innocent, who are you to sit there and tell me that I'm guilty? I was never convicted of rape. I was convicted of oral copulation with a minor. I was 18, she was under 18. And I agreed to take a plea deal that I got a blowjob from her.
He said, what? Bro, by all counts, that is exactly what rape is, mate. It doesn't matter what the bureaucratic words decided to say that is. That is exactly every single right down the line. That is exactly what sour graping is, mate. And it doesn't matter what way you try and put it. You and your adult friends did that to a child. So it does not matter what way you put it. And the fact that you took a plea deal does not mean that you are not guilty. It just means that you took the offer that you were given instead of taking the bigger charge, which is exactly how these things work. They offer you a plea deal and they'll say, we'll lower the charge to this charge right here if you plead guilty to this. And so that is exactly what happens. It doesn't prove anything other than you were 100% guilty of what these people are accusing you of. And it's just 100% you trying to justify what happened, but take it from somebody who spent their whole life in and out of courts. This is exactly what this man has done. It doesn't matter what way you look at it. He just said in his own words then, he pled guilty to those exact
They found
things.
me innocent. Who are you to sit there and tell me that I'm guilty? I was never convicted of rape. I was convicted of oral copulation with a minor. I was 18, she was under 18. And I agreed to take a plea deal that I got a blowjob from her.
So let
They
me
were
just
trying
say,
to teach
right,
me a
it wouldn't
lesson
even
because
matter
a year
about that
before
age
that,
gap.
when I was
If he was to
underage,
roll
I had a
through
fight
an
with my
Australian prison
ex-girlfriend.
door
She
with
cheated
those
on me.
charges,
I got hella
mate,
upset,
you are in
and
for
I
a
smacked
world
her
of
in the
hurt.
back of the head. At that time, my mom had cancer. She was the only thing I had, and she cheated on me with a guy who got her and I to break up because he told her parents that I was a bad guy. They found my pictures on MySpace with guns, a bunch of pictures with friends of mine who were gang members, Bloods, MS-13, 18th Street, BOP. I was hanging out with gangs all the time. So at the time when she told me in the car that she cheated on me, I yelled at her. She pushed me, said, "Don't yell at me." Smacked her in the back of the head. Shit happens, you're a young boy. I was 17 years old. So the judge wanted to teach me a lesson. So that way I don't have
Right, so take
involvements
notice
like that
of this,
any longer.
yeah?
And I didn't.
Because
I
this is
also put
someone who
together
says that he
screenshots
comes
from
from
the
a special
case,
forces
proving
background.
the
He
true
worked for the
facts.
FBI,
I
all
also
of
put
this
in the
shit, right?
description that
We
gives
all
you
know
every
that if
single
you come from a
piece of
gang
the article
background
that I
and there
put
is
together
proof
with
out
my
there that
lawyers,
you were
so
from
can
that
read the
background, there
facts
ain't
of what
no
happened
way
that
in
night.
hell
Now let's go through
that
the
you
case.
are getting a law enforcement background job.
Let me
Just
share
saying.
with you what exactly I remember that happened that night, and then what actually I found out that happened. Because I had to think about it over and over and over again. Again, remember, it was almost 20 years ago. And you also have to understand, I was 18 years old. Yeah, I was fighting. Yes, I owned guns. Yeah, I was homeless right before that. But I was still an 18-year-old boy. I remember that I was thinking that I'm only going to a party to meet a couple of girls, meet some friends. My brother talked to this girl. They were talking to each other. She was with a friend. I liked the friend. The friend liked me. I asked my parents to throw a kickback at my house. So my parents let me use the house. I still always had a room there. I still, until today, have a room at my mom's house. Israeli parents, no matter what, they'll throw you out, they'll bring you back in. I didn't understand.
So obviously
back
this
then,
case
but
has a
today I
victim,
do.
so we're
I get
not
my
going to go
parents
right
to let
through
me
it. I'm
use
just
their
going to let you
house,
guys
have
hear
a
the
kickback,
backstory and we'll
and these
move
two
on from
girls
there.
brought a girl with them, and that girl is H. She came with us to the house. You know, we're all having some drinks and stuff. She starts going wild. She started taking off her clothes. She was in an underwear and bra. Started walking around to the guys, asking them if they will fuck her. And all of us didn't understand what was going on with her.
You're
But she
carrying
started
around
jumping
guns, you're hanging
She
around
went
with
into my
gangs,
parents' house.
but you're trying
We're
to
all in
claim
the
that at
backyard.
18 years
Started
old, you're
jumping
still
on the beds
a
from
boy, you
room
know what I
to
mean? Well,
room
you're
to
not, you're a
room.
man.
When she fell on the
And
floor, I
once
was like,
again,
what
in
the hell is
Australia,
happening
once
with her?
you're
I need to
18,
get this
that's it,
girl
you're
out
a
of my
man.
house.
There's no
So the
excuses.
girl
And
that was with me
sometimes,
that night,
even
she literally helped me
17-year-olds,
take her out of my
16-year-olds
house. So
even
the
end up in
fact
men's
that
prisons.
John Bravo
And I know
brought
that is the same over in the US.
that me and my brother did things to her in the room and all of that, that actually wasn't her testimonial. That was her parents. But I'm gonna share with you that a little bit later. So she started jumping everywhere and we got her out of the house. And eventually she asked Mayor, which you guys already know his name, she asked him to sleep with her. But Mayor couldn't get it up. It was in front of everybody. And because he couldn't get it up, they stopped. Things calmed down. Everybody was cool. Everybody was okay. My parents came back home. H was already dressed. Mayor, who my parents didn't like for another reason, another thing that happened between me and him, he said, I'm going to go home. So H said to him, will you drop me off in West Hills? And he said, sure, come, I'll take you. My parents came
Rightio,
outside.
so like
and
just
as
straight up,
she was
that's
getting
enough
up
of
to
that
leave,
story. But
my
I'm
mom
going to
said
put the
hi
link to this
everybody,
video
and H
in
said to
the
my mom,
description
"Thank you
of
for
this
having
video,
me."
so you can
She
watch that
smiled
whole
and she
video.
left with
And
Mayor.
like, if you
Why
guys
did
know
she get in
anything
the
about
car
body
with him
language,
and
all this,
drove
but
with
it
him
doesn't
from
matter.
Sherman Oaks all the
Paperwork
way to
does
West
not
Hills?
lie, and
Come
we're going to go
find
through
out
that. So
she went-
here's the truth about King Azoulay's position, right? So paperwork does not lie. And by his own admittance, he says that he only pled guilty to, you know, making a minor do that. And I don't care what anyone says, right? So someone with those charges, and it doesn't matter what prison you are at in any country around the world, these charges are seen as absolutely putrid. And so this guy with his bullshit stories about, you know, I was in the FBI, I was a gang member, I was in the army. So what were you, mate? What were you, you know? And these people will just get eaten alive. And so paperwork checking is real. And so this bloke would just get paperwork checked. And because he is a pretty well-known influencer, he would 100% just run into trouble because everyone knows that all the stories that he's telling are bullshit. You know, there's people that are coming out now. He's accusing other people of fake valor when people are coming out now 100% proving that he never spent one day in the military. And like I said, someone who's claiming to be in the FBI and also in the same breath claiming to be friends with so many gang members and stuff like that, you can just tell it's all bullshit. And so this is why people like this are dangerous and are dangerous to our youth, because they give them the wrong idea. They feed them nothing but fake bullshit. And you know, it's just all fake, and they teach people the wrong idea. How is somebody going to learn how to become this so-called alpha male, which is so important these days for some reason, off this guy? Do you know what I mean? I think you guys are all smart enough to know that people like this, you know, you can rip them apart. They break their own lies, and they're just talking absolute shit, you know. But the truth is, this kind of stuff and selling people like life skills on how to become an alpha male, and it's just a bad thing. And you know, young kids and teenagers and young men see this, and because he's talking all this gang bullshit and I was in the army and all this, people see that as appealing, and then they think, all right, now I'm going to level up my you know, my life like this guy has. And you know, the proof's in the pudding. There's no way he makes as much money as he says he makes. And you know, all these people, these fake influencers, you know, they're just, I just don't get it. You know, they tell all these bullshit lies and tell all these stories. Like, yeah, I tell war stories and that, but I have a point behind my war stories. It's so all you people, the viewers, don't follow in my footsteps and don't do this, you know. And so this guy, and not only that, you can just tell that this guy isn't the character who he portrays himself as. So real tough people. It takes, you know, accountability and mental strength and like, you know, somebody who's been a part of that life that he's saying he's a part of. It just turns you into a totally different person. And so, you know, when we're talking about you know, this guy saying that he's been this hectic person. You know, he's been a gang member, he's been in the army, he's been in the FBI, and then, you know, he goes selling these courses on telling people how to become this man. It's just dangerous. And the truth is, you know, a real tough guy would pick this guy away, pick this guy apart in seconds and prove that he's a fake. So just remember, guys, be careful who you're taking advice off to try and excel in your life. But also remember that real strength and real toughness is not claimed. It's proved.
The Chaos Chronicles, where the